Thank you for taking this moment to breathe and to listen to what can change your life forever. My name is Ragnar Sinikas, and I'm the founder of Starpreneur TV, How to Dominate the Decade talk show, World Women Conference and Awards, the creator of Coral Desk, the coach of the change makers, and co-author of the book From Zero to Exit. So my mission is to empower through education, and thank you very much for joining us today. Today, I have the honor to talk with Walaa wahba. Currently, he's a member of the United States Navy with multiple achievement awards holding various positions. His entrepreneurial spirit led him to be a co-founder of Status Style, a clothing company focused on self-expression on the verge of launching. And he served different aspects of the community, from churches in Japan to refugees in the United States of America. And most recently served as Chief Operating Officer of the Enamo Foundation in Netherlands, raising awareness and educating humanity through entertainment. So welcome, Walaa. Tell us your story, who you are, why you're doing what you're doing. How did you end up going from Egypt to United States of America? And tell us a little about your story. I cannot unmute you. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, Regne. I'm really honored to be with you on the show. So a quick story about myself. So I was born and raised in Egypt, in Cairo, and I was a spoiled kid. You know, we grew up. We had a very good company. It was a diving company. My dad, he was like a captain on a petroleum tanker. So we were well off, and then I went through college. I did electrical power and computer control engineering. And afterwards, this era was not really great in Egypt. I graduated. I was trying to find a job. Actually, I found as an engineer, I was in charge of 24 people, and my salary was like $500 a month. So my rent, because at that point I met my beloved wife, and we were about to get married, but the rent was $500, so it wasn't really doing much for me. And I remember we got married, and we went to the States for our honeymoon, and I never went back. So it was actually a funny story. We finished our honeymoon. It was like 2 weeks in Orlando. It was amazing. And then we were packing our stuff, right? And I looked at her. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going back. And she was like, what? What are you saying? We're not coming back, you know? Because my job is there. Everything we know is there. And I was like, all right, you know what? Just simply, our visa is just 6 months. Let's see what we can do. If we couldn't, we're just gonna go back. At that point, I've already applied for immigration to Australia. So either or, I just wanted to do something, right? And but coming here to the United States, and the first time in my life to actually hold a broom and work, like physical work, was actually here. So I went from hero to zero, and I start my whole life again because things were not good in Egypt. I didn't want to be a burden on my parents anymore. So I decided to take it from the bottom up, and I start working in various restaurants and going one step on another and talking to lawyers and trying to get all the green card and all the papers set up and all of this stuff. It was crazy. We've been turned down by like 6 lawyers, and we finally found one very expensive lawyer. And I had to sell everything that I owned back in Egypt simply to pay him and have just a little bit to live with. And given that we moved to the States in 2009, all right, if you remember, at end of 2008, there was an economic crisis. Okay, so everything was happening. It was very hard to get like an engineering job or anything like that, because all companies, no one, everyone laid off workers. No one was hiring anyone. And then not until 2011, I did my research. I went to talk to like the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Army, Marines, the Air Force, and I'm a technical guy, so I really enjoy um, like technicalities. So I joined the Navy, and I enjoy being at sea. And it was the best decision of my life. Um, it really, like, going to boot camp, I grew so much. You have no idea the discipline that you get, the mentality that everyone is one big family. You have to help everyone else in order for you to succeed. Um, you are as strong as your weakest link, as you say. And of course, the foremost is get things done no matter what. You have a situation, get over it, get it done. Type mentality.
So,
So go ahead.
so when you talk about you and your life and all of that, what do you see today, considering all the experience, and what can you say today? What is your passion and what is your purpose in life?
So I've always been the person who loves to help others. My friends, my family, they always used to be. I used to be their confidant, right? So whenever they want to ask like a question, they come to me, right? They want to, if they have a problem and they want someone to bounce ideas with, they used to come to me. And so I was like, this is amazing. I really enjoy helping others and make them um, succeed. When you see someone else succeed, it gives you that satisfaction, that inner satisfaction. So doing that, I started thinking about humanity. So um, when I was in Japan, I was deployed out in sea, and I was sitting one day. There was no flights, so uh, like an off day in the middle of in the middle of the sea, and I was just looking out and thinking about humanity and thinking about how and why do things happen the way it is. Being on a warship, why there is war in the world, and why there's things that's happening. And I came across a lot of things, and one of them was definitely religion. um, and I started thinking about things in a very different perspective. And there are 4,200 religions on earth, you know and all of them, they claim that they promote peace, right? But if let me ask you a question. If civilization fell right now, if there was no more police, if there was no more law, if there's nothing happening right now, what do you think is going to be up and running? Do you think people are going to be living in harmony?
I think, considering the current circumstances, where people are really hungry, then that can bring up the
Survival
basic
instinct.
instinct.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So the survival instinct is going to kick in for everyone, right? And in order for you to feel safe, you're going to want to find the people who are thinking like you, people who have the same belief like you, correct? And that will immediately break down humanity into tribes, not even countries. So I was like, okay, so my purpose in life is be able to have the slight chance to help humanity moving forward to get together. I want to, like, my mission in life is to open an orphanage. All right. And this orphanage, it's like, I'm going to be focusing on the needs of those kids, right? Um, and like, I have an idea of the name. It's called Leah, which is called Life Enriched Academy. And there are two concepts that I want to be giving to those kids. First is I want to teach them all religions. So those kids, they will truly have no like racism when they grow out, you know. In light of everything that is happening right now, like, we have to identify that there's something, right? Every single person of us, every single one, whether we admit it or not, in the middle of society, there is a little bit of, like, racism because of how we like, there's traditions and things that have been passed through generations and generations, and now it's time for the world to really get together. And that's what I want to instill in those kids. If they know everything and they understand the background of every single person, they can communicate with the walks of life. They will be the children of the world that will truly have no discrimination between one another. So that's one. And then the second is the continuous process improvement mindset. So continuous process improvement, it's a mindset that you, once you learn it, you kind of can't unlearn it. It stays with you. And if you went on YouTube, you just search for lean kids, and you will see a 9-year-old, all right, come back from school. She knows exactly where to put her little backpack. You go to her room and it's spotless. You open her wardrobe, okay, and it's perfectly, all the clothes are perfectly aligned. The way she folds the clothes is in a certain way where she can pull out their clothes without messing the rest of them, you know. It's a mindset. So if you imagine a 9-year-old can do that, all right, what can they do when they grow up
Well,
if they actually hold a position?
all the kids who go to Maria Montessori schools are doing the same. I can assure you that.
Well, that's like, this is amazing because, continuous process improvement is not a, it's not a, like a brand new thing. It's been there. And like Montessori is one of those things that, like, one of those like institutions that it really have that concept. And this is like, it's amazing. But the idea of, like, there's difference between discipline, and they make them do the kids without them understanding what it is. The idea of continuous process improvement is how to make things faster, better, and more efficient. All right. So, like, yes, there are discipline. You can let, like, let and tell the kids, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do that, versus changing the mindset and make them understand why are they doing that, you know. So if they understand the reason behind it, this is what actually counts. Yes, they can be disciplined, they can do it all day long because they, like, they grew up on it, and, like, this is how it became reality. This is how I do things, you know.
It's interesting. So how would you explain to, for example, a 6 years old that why does he or she needs to do their bed? Which is why
Yeah.
very, very distinctive way of a routine that they should do. So what would you explain? How would you explain that?
So for kids, so right now I'm, like, I'm actually in the, like, trying to get like the concept to break it down to like a Barney style, so we can bring it to kids. But everything, like, especially, like, with kids, It's about how it's gonna look, and this is like, you know, it looks nice, and you want to be that, and like, you know, deter them and tell them like, you know, okay, what are the bad things that would happen if you didn't make your bed? Does it look good? No, it doesn't, right? When you now say, for example, you have someone who's going to come visit you, a friend or whatever, um, you want him to come and you want him to see your bed like this, all right? Or now you're going to have to spend more time do it, versus if you wake up in the morning and you just do it right away, then you're ready to accept anyone. But like, you know, I'm still working on the actual curriculum that I'm going to give to the kids. This is just like, you know, the idea. But if you also like, you know, Paul Akers, I want you to look, you know, look him up. He's the author of the book 2-Second Improvements, and his idea is, if you have any process, right? Say, for example, it takes you 20 minutes to get ready in the morning. Okay. And if this 20 minutes that you take in the morning, you shave 2 seconds a day off of it. So you just try to make it faster and better way to get ready. If you just shave 2 seconds a day, by the end of the year, you're going to have saved 12 minutes. So instead of taking 20 minutes to get ready, you're going to only get ready in 9, right? This is like, you know, this is what I do in the Navy, you know. You have no idea the things, like my last projects, for example. My last project was, there's an inventory that they do 4 times a year, right? And this inventory is for like 998 items. Now, this inventory, it took them 3 personnel to do that inventory, and it took them 54 hours. Okay, so we said, okay, let's go around and see how the process and how are you doing things, right? And then after we went through it, we finished the project, and we were able to bring it down to only done with 2 personnel, and it took 8 hours. Okay.
So basically what you do, you go in, you assess the current process, and then you find the sweet spots where you can improve the performance. Is
correct. Correct. And like, you know, continuous process improvement, it can be on a, like, in business and in life. So you can use it in personal life and in business. So there are 3 major methodologies that we use when it comes to continuous process improvement. The first one is called lean. Okay. And lean, like when I say lean, what comes into your mind right away?
Lean?
Mm-hmm.
Nutrition, lean.
Mm-hmm. Right. Being lean, right? Being thin, being fit, correct? So basically, there is no fats. So what, like you know, that fat, that waste, all right? That's what we try to eliminate or reduce in the lean methodology. There are 8 types of wastes, and they are transportation, and this is when you transport an object from one place to another. Motion, all right. So for example, have you ever been working in a restaurant, in an office, and you had to print from another office and you had to walk to take that paper from one place from another place, not right next to you? That's called motion waste, because you have to get up, walk all the way over there, get the paper, come back. Believe me, like, you know, those little small things, all right, add up a whole lot of hours of the day. And
there I do disagree. That's physical movement, and and to actually have that few minutes of physical activities instead of sitting, I would spend those.
Well, you can take breaks. There are breaks that you can take it and you can walk and do. But like, the idea is when you are focusing, like say for example, you are working on the computer, right? And you're working on a report, right? And then you blah 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 blah, you're typing, and then you're printing on. And then once you print that, you have to walk, disrupt your thought, all right? Your train of thought will be disrupted. You're gonna you're gonna get up, walk to the copy machine or the printer. You're gonna might see someone, you're gonna start talking for a little bit, all right? And then by the time you come back, now you have to restart your gears to finish that report, versus if you just sit down, finish all the reports, get it done, instead of finishing it in 20-30 minutes, you can finish it in just 5-10 minutes, and then you can do another task. Then you can stand up, you can have your break, you can do whatever, and then start another task. I hope that makes sense. So third one is called excess inventory. So if you have an inventory, say for example a warehouse, and they have an excess inventory, that means that they're gonna need a bigger space to store it. A bigger space means more money for rent, more money for electricity, more money for personnel to take care of it. So that's excess inventory. And then you have overproduction and overprocessing. So overproduction, so let me tell you a story that will encompass everything. So for example, I went to a conference in LA. It was in end of January. Yes, it was end of January. And then that conference had a restaurant at the bottom, in the hotel. And during lunchtime, there's a lot of people gonna rush into the restaurant. There's a lot of rush, right, of orders. And we were like 8 people sitting together. And one guy was like, restaurants need to understand that this is gonna be a rush hour, and they need to start preparing the food, at least the famous dishes or whatever. They need to prepare it before the rush hour, because people are gonna come, they're gonna order, and they should have their food ready. And then, most of the people were agreeing with them, like, yeah, if they have started, cooking earlier, no one was gonna have to wait, right? So I told them, okay, think about this. Now, you're going to have all those dishes pre-made, right? Say you made a dish, and then by the time an actual order comes, that plate became cold. So you have the customer sitting and a plate came to him, right? Now it's cold. This is the first a form of waste. It's called a defect, right? Because a cold food for a customer, right? It's a defect. So the customer is gonna say, okay, he's gonna raise his hand, or he's gonna call the hostess or the waiter. Now the waiter need to stop what he's doing, come to that customer, all right? So that's motion waste. Then you're gonna complain. That waiter is gonna take that plate to the kitchen. That's transportation, right? He's transporting the plate to the kitchen. He's gonna tell the cook, hey, this cold, we need to make another one. Now, that cook have already did overproduction because he did that plate before, and this now it's just waste of food, right? So that's overproduction. Overprocessing, because he have to do the same order again, right? And it's underutilization of the chef's skill, because instead of him doing the exact same plate again, he could be doing another order, right? So if you consider the waste between, okay, and meanwhile the customer is still waiting outside, right? So simply, do you see just, and all of those are oblivion, like we don't really think about those little things. But if you could calculate and add the time wasted by the cook, by the waiter, by the hostess, by, like, if you combine all of those times plus how many defects per day, the time will be enormous.
I totally get it, but let's say those are some of the challenges actually what the entrepreneurs have, because one, they wanna always please, and as we say, the client always have the right, or the client is the king, and there needs to be both both sides in the story, in that sense, that obviously I think I think our, and that's, I think, in any field, that if you don't have the experience in that world, you don't know exactly what is the process, how the kitchen really works, all of that. The easiest is to complain and think that I could do so much better. So I totally agree with that. But what else do you see? What are the common challenges entrepreneurs find when they are building their successful businesses?
So there are, like, one, like you said, like, the customer is always right. And with this, entrepreneurs, they get so excited and they want to start strong, but they never understand that at some point they're going to get tired, you know? So you have to find your pace. So for example, I see a lot of coaches and who say, okay, you know what? We're going to start producing, like, one content a day or three. I see people who do three contents a day on social media. And I'm like, do you understand how much work that is? If you kept it for 2 months, good on you. But, like, it's, you have to find your pace because you have to be consistent. Your viewers, okay, is gonna be expecting a certain standard from you. So pace yourself so you can be consistent, okay? Because if the viewers say, for example, you used to have, say, one content a day, right? At a certain time of the day. And after a while you feel like, okay, you know what? This is, it's getting very, like, heavy on me, and I'm going to start skipping days. Now, what message are you sending to your viewers when they open up and they don't see you? If you're not there for them at that time, then, you know,
I think it's all about the creating the expectation and communicating the expectation.
you're completely right. You are completely right. Um,
So, and when we talk about, for example, your specific process or coaching, you do coach this program, or what is the coaching program that you have, and the process, like, are you coaching, who's your client?
so, like, currently my clients are the US Navy, and like, my friends and family, I didn't really start opening up for to accept clients simply because I'm not at that. I already have a lot on my plate. Um, but I'm soon, because of just the demand, I'm going to be building up my website pretty shortly, and I'm going to launch it. As far as coaching, I do, like, accountability, like being an accountability coach. Um, I also a continuous process improvement coach and consultant. Uh, I've already I've helped multiple friends and family members, but actually there's more. But I haven't charged anything yet for it. I just help people just to help them and try to instill that knowledge. So instead of me going every single time to a company and trying to improve their process, I can simply go to the manager and then teach him how to do it himself, right? Um, So when they go and they try to do it, if they have any questions, they can ask me. They can always return to me, and that would save the company, like, a lot of money. So I haven't started yet. So this is good for all the people who wants to ask me questions. I'm not charging anything yet. um,
So what
so
do you think? What do you think? What the future will bring to you personally and professionally?
So personally, during the, because of the current circumstances with the all the COVID things, I was supposed to launch my me and my partner. I'm just a co-founder. He's the main guy, but we were supposed to launch our company in the 1st of April, but because of what happened, we're not able to. So that wouldn't stop as far as the personal growth. That's why I started going online. You're gonna see I have more content now online. Started um, like building my own entity uh, and consultancy, because I'm going to Japan for 3 years, so I'm not going to be able to be here, bringing that roots and the things that I would wanted to do in 2020. So you just shift a little bit of focus. You're still going on, whether this or that. You still building on your skills, and yeah. So as far as personally and professionally, um, I'm going for hopefully a big promotion pretty soon. So I like it.
So can you tell us a little more about the work that you do with the Elamo Foundation and how this foundation is helping the communities?
Actually, so I met Maneli, and actually in November, uh, and like I saw him, and I was like, I had that vibe, and we start talking, and he explained the idea of Ilamo and raising the awareness and the consciousness of humanity to bring humanity together, and through empowering, women and children. So I was like, you know what, this is uh, a very noble and very good goal, and it aligns with what I want to do, because you know. So I was like, all right, you know what, whatever I can do to help you, just let me know. And then at that point, he was like, all right, you know what, let's see what can we do in the U.S. And this is when him and we had a meeting, and I was like, all right, I can try and run your operations here in the United States. Um, so I can't imagine, like I'm really excited for Elamu to flourish. I can't, like, I really can't wait for it to and collect and have more people join that cause, uh, because women raise children, all right, for um, and if you raise one child correctly, you have raised the whole society, right? So you have no idea the power the women have is humongous. Like, women uh, bring the whole society up by, like, the sky is the limit. Real men are brought by women. So it's I really can't express enough how Ilamo Foundation is going to change the world. So I'm still working with Maneli for that cause, and I can't wait for all the movies and things that we're gonna be bringing up, because you know the best way to educate people is through videos and movies, because this is how now people perceive things, right? So, and Maneli hit it right on the nail. Like he was like, you know what? I believe this is gonna be a life changer. So, and Maneli, I stand behind you whenever you need. So.
Maneli is going to be with us already next week, I believe, if I'm correct. I need to have the dates for
22nd June.
22nd of June, exactly.
Yes.
So we will hear more about Elamo on that date. So thank you everybody who has joined here. So if you have any questions, comments, recommendations, then this is the best time to whether you're watching in Facebook, Coral Desk, or the under profile of Ragne Sinikas. Please leave your comments, your questions there. I can see immediately the questions that are under Ragne Sinikas. But if you leave anything below Coral Desk, we will take care of those questions after the session. So what would you say, what are your 3 recommendations how to dominate the decade?
So my first recommendation is definitely stay focused, okay? It doesn't matter what happens, all right? Everything that happens, they are just a new way for you to think differently. All right, so stay focused on what you want to do. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, okay, don't be afraid to suck in something new. Okay, so say for example you are doing something and it really kind of like you felt that it's not the right way anymore and you want to venture and you want to see something else. Don't be afraid to suck at something new, because with experience, you're going to get better. All right. Being afraid to step outside your comfort zone, this is one of the worst thing that you can ever do. You know, life starts at the end of your comfort zone. So that's number 2. And then, like, you know, number 3, always stay flexible. As Bruce Lee was saying, be water, my friend. So
let me see. What has been the one book that has changed your life?
One book that have changed my life. Well, there's like multiple, but the one that really, like I've heard, like, you know, I've read multiple motivational books and things that makes you, like, you know, come to life. But there are 2 books that I really liked. One was for, like, you know, Paul Akers, that 2-second improvement. Like, you know, it made me look differently to the world. Like every place I go to right now, it's like, okay, why is this not happening this way? And why is this not happening in this way, right? And when you are talking about people who always say, well, this is how we've always been doing this, right? Or they give you something like, all right, you know, see, like that questionable, like, you know, mindset. Question, just simply question. So that's one. And then the second one was actually JT Fox. The millionaire, the millionaire underdog. So he have a lot of ideas that you can implement. I got overwhelmed a little bit simply because I believe in speed of implementation. And when you start to implement everything that you try to come across with, it really you can, like, your mind can just surge a little bit. So those are two that really, like, synced in that era, like, because um, every time period that you're living in, different aspects is going to affect you differently. So as far as this time, those are the two books that I would say really, like, going forward, this is what I want to, like, those are the things that I want to implement in my life.
So we have two questions here. What lessons did you learn from your parents?
Okay. My parents, I, like, I'm so grateful. Like, I had my parents. They taught me that every, how to treat people in general. And I will give that, like, to my mom. She, she was, like, the reason why I would say, like, the kindness and the empathy and the way she looks at things, it made me the man who I am right now. Like, that passionate person, I got that from her. And like, I'm really grateful for that. And my dad, and I can't even start. So my dad used to take me around to, like, to the yachts, and I used to see, like, the workers working on the woodwork and how we built our yachts back in Egypt. And he would tell me, like, what, I want you to go and help the workers and tell the worker, like, hey, give him, like, give him the hammer, give him, like, the nails, tell him what to do, and then do the quality check if I did it the right way. And for me, I was playing, but I didn't understand it, like, having like a quality check or someone that's behind you raises your standard. Like, like, my dad gave me standards, um, and never quit. He definitely taught me never to quit. So
What are the top 3 items on your bucket list?
top 3 items on my bucket list. So I don't know if you know what's happening with SpaceX right now. So basically, Elon Musk have defied everyone's. They're saying that he can't uh, boost a rocket to space and then come back. So he defied that, and he actually did it, right? So, any rocket is built of 3 parts, right? You have the booster that catapults the rocket up to space, right? And then you have the descender and the ascender. Those are the one that, like, they land and wherever they want, and then they go back up. So normally before, that booster used to launch the rocket and then fall in the sky, in the ocean. Elon Musk was able to make this booster go up, launch the rocket, and then land back and be reused. It can launch up to 10 rockets. All right. And the idea right now that they are thinking about is you can go from anywhere in the world to anywhere in the world within 30 minutes simply by going up to space and then dropping in that place that you want to go to. So one of my bucket list, hopefully before I die, is to do this trip, go to space. So that's number 1. Okay. Number 2 is, like, actually see my legacy of Leia come to life and be able to, when I die, I want to be people to just say, huh, well, yes, he was a good man, and make a dent in the world. So So I want to see that legacy, hopefully before, before I die. And then the third is, this is more of a personal thing. Um, like it's more of a dream. I want to get all my family together in in one land, um, where they don't have to worry about anything. I just want to be able to support every single person in my family. I just want them to be around me.
So if someone wants to contact you, if someone wants to follow you, how they can do so?
So they can follow me on Facebook, like Walaa Wahba. I also have a Facebook page. It's called Walaa Wahba CPI Consultant, and Instagram Walaa Wahba, and my email is walaawahba@gmail.com. It's spelled as you can see it. It's WALAAWAHBA all together at gmail.com. Please, if you want to reach out, ask me any question. For the businesses, if anyone is looking right now who have businesses, I really encourage right now, look closely at your business, for God's sake. During this COVID, all right, look at the numbers and look at if you can have people working from home. Okay, now we have already, it have been proven that people can work from home. Okay, so it's going to lower, instead of having an infrastructure and maintaining a building that is 5-6 stories high, you can literally reduce that to a 2 or 3 story building and save all that infrastructure cost that comes with it, and you have people working from home, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be happy. So you're going to raise the morale of the workers and save money. Okay. So if you are a business and you really want to take advantage of what's happening right now, and you want to take a closer look at your numbers and see if you can save money, or you want to increase your profitability in a different way, please get in touch with me, and I can help you out.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody who has joined us today, who has taken the time to listen. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you wrote that something down. And most probably, if you did so, you can become the hero of your life by taking action on that. You can be the hero of someone else's life by sharing this video and taking, again, action. So thank you very much. Investing your time into yourself is the best investment that you can make. And thank you for doing it. And Maneli, thank you for joining us as well. We will see you on the 22nd of June at 11 a.m. Mexico, Los Cabos time. I don't know where you are watching us from. So
Barcelona,
please,
7 p.m.
Please, yeah, 7 p.m. in are you now in Netherlands or Spain?
Barcelona, yes, I will still be here.
Okay, so 7 p.m. Whether you are in Spain or I guess UK, it's 6 p.m. So right. Thank you very much, everybody who has joined us. Thank you, Walaa, for your recommendations, for all your insights. And I wish that all your top 3 will come true. So let us know when you're taking the trip to the with a mask. So
that it doesn't have to do with mask. It doesn't have to do with mask. It's gonna be a normal commercial plane. So amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for having me, Ragni. And I really since we met in City Summit, and I'm I can't wait like, you know, to get together again and see what we can do and how we can influence and improve humanity. Thank you so much for having me.
I would like to say a word of thanks as well to Ragnar for what you're doing. You're amazing. And you, of course, Walaa, thank you for what you said, the beautiful words about El Amo and our how we met. And so I hope to see you back in 22nd of June. And Ragnar, you were amazing. Thank you for myself and for in name of the humanity.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Everybody who watched, you gave your part today, so you can be happy about that. A little win that you can write down in your journal. So you already took action. John, thank you for joining us and helping the cause of a not better but different society, what we all are looking for. So thank you, everybody, for joining, and I will see you already tomorrow at the same time. Who's going to be here tomorrow? Check out my profile, or you can go to Coral Desk, check it out, World Women Conference, check it out, or How to Dominate the Decade profile, and check out who's going to be here tomorrow. Thank you very much, and hasta luego.
There you go.